Hey guys, I'm back as promised, and we are going to continue with the book of Esther. We are on chapter 4, and we left off with Haman being mad as a hornet at Mordecai because Mordecai refused to bow down to him, so he was able to get the king's signet ring and vow to destroy not only Mordecai but all the Jews as a repayment for him not bowing to him as he walked past. So now let's start with chapter 4. And chapter 4, Mordecai persuades Esther to help. Now, when Mordecai learned of all that had been done, he tore his clothes, and he put on sackcloth and ashes, and went out into the city wall, wailing loudly and bitterly. So, for those of you that don't know, like I said, this is for beginners. So back in the Bible days, when they put on sackcloth and ashes, that was a sign of mourning. That was a sign of distress. So that's what Mordecai did when he found out the news that Haman had put out a hit on all the Jews, basically. But he went only at the king's gate. That's as far as he went. He went only as far as the king's gate, because no one who was clothed in sackcloth and ashes was allowed to enter into it. In every province to which the edict and order of the king came, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, and wailing. Many of them lay in sackcloth and ashes. And when Esther's eunuchs and female attendants came and told her about Mordecai, she was in great distress. She sent clothes for him to put on instead of his sackcloth, but he would not accept them. So we're going to find out why he didn't accept them. Then Esther summoned Hathach, one of the king's eunuchs assigned to attend her, and ordered him to find out what was troubling Mordecai and why. So Esther didn't know why he was in the sackcloth and ashes, because the news hadn't gotten to her. So now she's going to find out why Mordecai was refusing the change of clothes that she was giving him. So Hathach went out to Mordecai in the open square of the city in front of the king's gate. Mordecai told him everything that had happened to him, including the exact amount of money Haman had promised to pay into the royal treasury for the destruction of the Jews. He also gave him a copy of the text of the edict for their annihilation, which had been published in Susa, to show to Esther and explain it to her. And he told him to instruct her to go into the king's presence to beg for mercy and plead to him for her people. So Hathach went back and reported to Esther what Mordecai had said. Then she instructed him to say to Mordecai, "All the king's officials and the people of the royal provinces know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned, the king has but one law: that they be put to death, unless the king extends the gold scepter to them and spares their lives. But 30 days have passed since I was called to go to the king." And so when Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer. So they were going back and forth with messages. So Mordecai says, do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. So that was a lot to put on Esther's shoulders, but it was reality for them because he wanted her to know that just because you're queen, don't think that this verdict is going to go past you because you're in the king's palace. Once they found out that you are Jewish, same thing that goes for everybody else is going to go for you too. So he let her know that. And so then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai. Go gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. And when this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went away and carried on all of Esther's instructions. And I'm going to stop right there. And tomorrow we will do chapters 5 and 6. All right, you have a good evening.